and I look for it around the outside nonetheless, but I tuck in behind this Cadillac. Hey guys, Stratos here. Welcome back to yet another banger video. And today we're at Monza. We got a one stint sprint commentary for you guys. We're in the Hypercars. We chose the Ferrari 499P as our weapon of choice. And without further ado, let's get into the race. It's gonna be a long one today, but it's going to be exciting. And here I go. Starting in P6, as we hold our breaths, we wait for that green light. We wait for the race to start. We wait for us to be able to do battle, and that flag goes green, and off we go. It's not a massive car field, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be competitive. In P6, off the start of the race, as we make our way down into turn 1, everybody knows how treacherous this can be, and in a top split lobby like this, everyone's being very, very careful. We see a couple people get a couple bumps and bruises as we make our way around Curva Grande for the first time. That Ferrari that we started with is actually ahead of us now, and we've dropped down to P7, and it's everything I can do to hold off and defend my position from car 51 behind. I look to get my position back from Senna in this Porsche 963, that Porsche Penske Motorsport livery, looking amazing today. Make our way around Lesmo 2, and I dip a wheel into that gravel. That's going to be off track, but we're okay, as the Ferrari right behind Gallardo also did the exact same thing, is bringing up the rear that 2023 Peugeot with no wing. Very interesting car to use, as theirs has been some sort of off. I think that was the Cadillac, and that's going to give me a bit of a chance to get closer to that group of cars fighting oh so aggressively up ahead. We make our way around the Parabolica for the very first time, looking to slingshot out of there. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, the slipstream here is crucial. Gallardo didn't get something right out of Parabolica, as he has dropped down very, very far, as we see smoke plume up ahead. Somebody has to take the escape road. That's not what you want to see, as a couple people struggle, me included, especially out of turn 2 in that first chicane. But we go around Curva Grande again, and that gap still remains less than a second, actually going down to 0.4 seconds, 0.3 seconds at one point under braking. More dust being kicked up, and at the end of it, when it's all said and done, as we make our way around Lesmo 1, that gap is now 0.7 and teetering between half a second and almost 3/4 of one, but still less than a second. Still very much within the conversation, still very much a threat to Senna up ahead, as we fly under the bridge in over 170, close to 180 miles an hour, going through a Ascari chicane, grabbing a bit of that curb, really everywhere, as I try to keep that gap at less than a second. And I'm gonna have to try a lot harder now, as that gap has now lengthened to a second at one point, going up to 1.1, and it's going to be even more now, going up to 1.2. But I'm up into P6, as that Peugeot has to dip into the pits, and everyone's gonna gain one position there. I'm not too sure what happened to him, but as we are under braking, you see sparks flying as my splitter hits the ground, just giving a little love tap. Someone locks up, and that gap is now back under a second. I'm in good form out of that second chicane. And as we go through Lesmo 1, we're in fairly decent form. Yet another toe into the gravel, and that is a little bit more time that I'm just giving away. Everybody real close together. Is there some action happening? They go 3 wide up ahead. And let's tune into this. This is very interesting. A Ferrari, Cadillac, and Porsche. 3 different manufacturers. And under braking, who's going to be the last? They go 3 abreast under braking. And it looks like the Cadillac, that Prada livery, is going to be victorious under braking out of turns 1 and 2. But that gave me a chance to get there and get closer. Now this is a 4-man weave, but those 3 up ahead are still very much more in contention than I am. Trying to stay as close as he can. I get around the outside and ahead almost completely. Is under braking. I go around the outside fully. And that is a beautiful move done on Senna. But this is gold safety rating racing and top split at that. So he's not going to take that just sitting down. He's going to go for a move around the outside under braking. Can he get it done? We're neck and neck under braking. I leave him space. He leaves me space. And we almost come together, but we don't. We are neck and neck. I get slightly better exit. And the inside line going around Curva Grande. But he's going to use that outside line to his advantage, actually getting ahead through here. But under braking, I have something to say about it. And I'm going to get ahead as now this is a very, very crucial battle for P5 now. As Senna goes around up the inside. And I'm not going to have a response around Lesmo 2 as I'm forced to tuck in coming out of Parabolica. And he's going to continue to weave, trying to break that toe even more. I'm unbothered by it and I'm staying straight ahead, under braking, getting a bit closer, just trying to get a better exit out of there, using all the curb on the inside, but not too much of it. And right as we pass that LED board, right before that, that is our mark. And we hit our mark, but Senna just hits his mark just a little bit better, getting a better exit, able to put just a little bit more power down a little bit quicker. Starting to leave me behind, that gap going up to 0.8. And for the first time in a couple of laps, it's starting to get to more than a second. Somebody has gone off and gotten a bit angry as we see those escape road boards flung every which way and everywhere else except for where they're supposed to be. And I think we found who went off. Bindi Tawa in that Hertz Team Jota Cadillac B Series R. And now this is a 3-person battle as I'm forced to stay behind this GT World Corvette. And that gap now goes up to 1.4 seconds. Senna and Bindi Tawa leaving me in the dust for a little bit. But I said it before and I'll say it again, the more you fight, the more time that you will lose. And they're fighting just a little bit faster than what I can keep up with right now, especially having not gotten as good of a run out of Ascari as I would have liked. But through Parabolica, we look to make it all better. And can we capitalize at least a little bit? I'm looking at the timing, and they're neck and neck up there, and this is going to be very fun to watch as we see a couple cars ahead starting to gain and go through some more lap GT3 traffic as Bindi Tawa continues to defend his position from Senna. And that defense has allowed that gap between me and Senna to drop down to 0.8, 0.7 seconds as that Cadillac, I thought he was going to go for something crazy. That Aston Martin Heart of Racing car getting out the way completely. I think he missed his braking zone. and we're all behind this 992 Porsche. We hold our breath. We see who's going to go through. The 963, the V Series R get through. And can I make my way around as well? Yes, I can. And that move right there is very, very crucial to staying tucked in. And off goes that poor blue 992 back there, biting off a bit more than he can chew on acceleration. And with these cars, especially that 992, when you lose the rear, it's very difficult to kind of maintain it. We come together just a little bit, me and Senna, and it is almost 3 wide. I'm looking at it around the outside. I'm thinking about it, but the slipstream is a lot better. And I look for it around the outside nonetheless, but I tuck in behind this Cadillac. And he's going to give his slipstream to the 963, and it becomes a drag race between me and this 963. He's going to have a lot better real estate than me, but I'm going to be last of the late breakers, and I convert that into P6 once again. But this three-way battle rages on. Yet another lap car, another Porsche. This time it's the orange and black one. Benditawa, he flashes his lights. He's the only one that's able to get through. I think better of it at this juncture, at this point of the race. It's not worth throwing it all away to get past one lapped car, especially in this battle that I'm in right now. And this is for P4, almost a podium. And we all have to make our way through more traffic. This blue and white BMW M4 GT3. We cross the finish line and start lap 10. Getting into the double digits, it's starting to get real. But at this point, I've settled into a rhythm, and so has everybody else around me. And it looks like we've all settled into relatively the same rhythm. Senna got a better exit as we go under the bridge and out the other side, and under braking, I continue to excel through Ascari, especially on the entry of that sector. And his exit was horrible through there, kicking up a lot more dust and almost losing the car, almost hitting the wall, and that would have thrown his race away completely, as this is a one stint sprint. You're not meant to have to really go into the pits, and if you do, it's not a good day for you at all. As he looks to gain track position on me, actually going ahead into that braking zone, but I managed to outbrake him, get a bit of that curb, and it manages to rotate the car just enough, just as much as we need, and it's just enough to get back ahead, but I can't exhale just yet as Senna looks to go around the outside. He thinks better of it and tries to just get a better exit out of that chicane. He's trying to stay in my rear view mirror, just make his car as big as possible in my rear view. I'm looking to make my 963 or my 499P as wide as possible, and I think we made contact through there. He goes off, but he's not completely out of the conversation. That gap now up to 1.4 seconds. It gives me a bit of breathing room and a chance to chase down Benditawa, and up ahead we have a battle for P2. Quevedo and Brown. Quevedo holding off Brown as they make their way into Curva Grande, and that Ferrari 499P really just stretching its legs and showing off, really showing what it's made of at its home Grand Prix at the Temple of Speed here. Brown isn't that far behind as he makes his way through Lesmo 2, and that is not the exit that he would have wanted, but it's the exit Benditawa was hoping he would get, as that gap now goes down to 1.4 seconds and counting. And you can see me in the background still holding off Senna, but that gap now up to 4.8 seconds, up to 5 seconds now, as we continue to follow along. and Benitawa has done nothing but work hard, and hard work is going to pay off at the Temple of Speed here today, as that gap now goes down to 0.7 seconds, and they're going to start fighting harder and harder as Brown gets a little squirrely out of turn 2, and that's going to compromise his exit ever so slightly going into Curva Grande and the subsequent chicane that follows, as Benitawa has gotten a way better exit, and that run proving very, very crucial. That gap now down to 0.4 seconds, and now it's not a question of if he's going to pass him. It's a conversation of when we think is going to happen. It is going to happen right now. Brown crumbling under pressure, and that's going to be a position gain for everybody. I'm now up into P4. And I go under the bridge, and Brown has tucked in right behind Senna. That gap now 1.5, but if he was up there fighting for a podium and actually in the podium spots, I got a feeling he could get back up there, but it's going to take a lot, especially with that lapse of focus, and even more so especially with whatever damage he incurred with that massive shunt that he just had. I go off a little bit in Lesmo 1, biting off a bit more than I can chew. I don't make the same mistake coming out of Lesmo 2, but that mistake in Lesmo 1 proving to be consequential. That gap now going down to 0.3 seconds between me and Senna, as we lap that Corvette for the second time on lap 14. Going into the Ascari chicane and coming out of the Ascari chicane, that gap goes up, and it is going to go up again to the tune of 0.6 seconds. I make my way around those two 992s fighting. You have that old Apple livery, and you have that blue and purple livery. And something has happened to that Macintosh Porsche, as we don't see him in the background anymore. Go into braking, you can hear the downshifts, how aggressive that sounds in this hybrid powered vehicle, both of these being hybrid powered vehicles. As we both go up the inside, and I have to take the escape road, Senna goes around and lights up the rears like a Christmas tree. I definitely also had like an orange track limit. They were going to burn me they might have given me a drive-through, because I still hadn't given up all that time that I gained from taking the escape road, and it actually is to my detriment as I lose out to Senna, and for the first time in a while, I am now looking at his diffuser. He's not looking at mine. He's looking at clean open air. But now we're going to see just how fast he can go, just how nimble he can make that 963. And that gap already up to a second. He understood it a lot more than me. But you can see some dirt on my car. Maybe the sign of some damage, possibly. We find our way towards that number 11 M4 GT3. That blue and white machine. I make my way up the inside just before we dip down into Lesmo 1. I'm in good form on exit and into and out of Lesmo 2. I'm in good form again on the curb, but not on the gravel. But it's not enough. As a matter of fact, we need a lot more. But yeah, any minor loss of downforce is going to show through here, and any crunkling on that surface of that car is going to result in added drag that is not being converted into downforce. It's just slowing us down because the car can't cut through the air as smoothly as it needs to. We'll also lose downforce due to that damage as well, which is going to hinder us in our braking zones. It's going to hinder us on turn in. It's going to hinder us on corner exit. That gap now up to 2.7 seconds, and both me and Senna are now running in relatively open air. As we take a listen and really see the line that we're having to take through here. Stretching out 6 gear as long as possible, hitting the brakes. You can hear the hybrid regenerating power as we hit those brakes, and that heat energy is converted into electrical energy. Try my best to dip into the pocket there on the exit of Lesmo 2. That gap now about 3 seconds, and you can see not in good form through there, having bit off a bit more than I can chew on the entry of Ascari chicane, and you can see how much we're having to pay for it up ahead, as that 963 just seems to be in better form. And that Porsche architecture no doubt helping on corner exit. The car understeering ever so slightly, and then you can start to see the graining on the rear tires. So they're definitely being worked, no doubt, as we follow along on board. Build the inside of that Corvette, but I lose a good amount of time to that 963 up ahead. As we can see, he is actually starting to catch up to Bindi Tawa and Kvito, as Kvito continues to put on a defensive masterclass from Bindi Tawa, defending through the lap traffic. We go past a Porsche, we go past an Aston Martin, as that Aston Martin is forced to take evasive actions from this hypercar battle up ahead, and as they battle for P2, Bindi Tawa almost loses it, and you can see just how squirrely that B-Series R is out of Lesmo 2, and you can see the battle I'm having to fight still as Senna makes his way around that lap traffic, and you can see me in the background. A podium is starting to be possible, but if you look at the time, you can see that we have probably 2 more laps left, counting the one that's about to start in a second. That gap now going down to 3.1 between me and Senna. But oh no, the last thing that you want, a mishap in the pits for Bindi Tawa, and that's going to spell pure heartbreak, as he is now having to do the 1 million point turn, and that's going to push me up into P4 and Senna up into P3. That podium position was possible, and now it's reality for Senna. And I still haven't given up. That gap now down to 2 point something seconds, but it's probably going to level out at around 3 seconds. I bite off a lot of that sausage curb on the left part of that left-right chicane. Going through Lesmo 1, we lose out just a little bit, gain on exit. Going into Lesmo 2, we lose on entry and on exit, unfortunately. There's more lap traffic. That Halloween colorway, orange and black Porsche 992 is our lap traffic currently, and we make our way through the Ascari chicane without really having to worry about him. And in good form on the exit, I go around the outside, just making that 992's job a lot easier. My car's faster, let's act like it. Shutting it down just before that LED board, getting the car around, getting it in the pocket, and getting on the gas. And you can see that only the chicane really separates us. And he's way better out of that chicane. Gaining, and gaining through Curva Grande to the tune of 0.2 seconds gain just in this sector. This is definitely one of them, not the last laps. This might be the last lap. Trying to stay in good form. Bouncing over that inner curb on the exit of Ascari. But I gotta remember, I am not the lead car. The lead car, 30 seconds ahead. I'm not going to even bother trying to say his name, but we'll call him Verse. Verse is in the lead, and Verse is going to finish in the lead, as that was the last lap of the race. An amazing P4 finish and amazing consistency. Having started in the midfield, working my way up to here is nothing short of beautiful, especially in a very competitive lobby like that. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, be safe, have a great rest of your day. Peace.